Hey everyone, this is Big for Life coming at you with another review from Mastermind Creations, or actually Ocular Max. This is their PS-16 Volatus, their version of Blastoff from their Combaticons. So as you can see here, it comes in a big box. The big selling point for this combiner is that they're all built in, meaning that there's no parts forming involved in terms of getting them from one mode to the other into combined mode, and even the full combined mode shouldn't have any parts forming unless you have the optional upgrade kit, which I've reviewed previously. So yeah, packaging, really nice artwork by Chico King as always. You can see the crew here. The only one left is their Brawl. Some photos, some warnings, and on the back you can see the nice transformation kind of in motion there that goes into the Bruticus. And you do get a nice bonus head. As far as the tech specs go, they're down here, just like the old G1 toy. In the little baggie, you do get a little decoder strip that allows you to more clearly see these lines. So yeah, that's it for packaging. Always nice. He does come in a plastic clamshell in robot mode, at least for the version I got. I actually don't know if they have a separate version. They've previously done separate versions for Asian and US releases just for shipping cost savings. But this one comes in robot mode, so we're going to start off with that. He does come with another set of baggies. Where's the other set of... Oh yeah, here's the other baggie, which has the alternate kind of like toy colored, I think, head, which had like the mispainting where the forehead was colored as like the visor, as opposed to the actual eyes that you see here. Come on, let me get that out. So let's take a quick look at that first. So let's see. As you can see, they're exactly the same head. The only difference, like I said, are that the eyes here are painted correctly, and this one is the forehead, which was miscolored. So yeah, very easy to pop on and off. You just go ahead and pull securely on the ball peg and put the other one on. I prefer the other one, so we're just going to go ahead and swap this back out. Very easy. If you're concerned about breaking the ball peg, which it's pretty sturdy, you can also just use one small Phillips head there and remove that screw. He does come with a blaster. Here it is, transform into gun mode. It works on a back tab as opposed to kind of a forward tab, which is different. I think other companies have done this before as well. I don't really like this method all that much, to be perfectly honest, because it's kind of hard to get in, especially when the handle folds up. But it does work. It does do the job. Very secure. And when we get it into transformation and storage, you want to fold this up and fold that up like that. All right. Other stuff you get in the bag. You get a stat card, as usual. Nice thick cardboard stat card with the same bio information that we saw. Here are the instructions, which go into detail on how to get him transformed into shuttle mode, and then eventually into arm mode. Some staff credits. Oh, as always, I like to put a disclaimer on here if I don't forget that I do the official video manuals for Ocular Max. They don't have any editorial or revision into any of my reviews, so I try to be as unbiased as possible, but I always like to put that out there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the review. I've already reviewed this guy a couple of times, I think, previewed him, but I really like this series of figures. The engineering is really, really impressive. AK, the designer here, and Makotron do a really splendid job of making this a really fun figure that looks pretty accurate in like all three modes. But yeah, the all-in-one, all built in, as the term they're using, is really phenomenal. So yeah, let's do a quick 360 of this guy. And for the most part, he's very, very clean. He does have thicker legs, I would say, to house the fist. You can see in here. But they're trying to do a good job of hiding that as much as possible. And they've actually, from the preview samples that I've had, they've done a lot of different small but really quality of life kind of improvements that make this figure even that much better than what I've shown you previously. Alright, so let's go into articulation first. His head, as you saw, is on a ball joint. Let's see here. His shoulders swivel around like so. Go up. He has a bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows, which give you about 135 degrees of bend. It also allows you to collapse it in weird ways. That's really for transformation. He does have a wrist swivel. Oh, and a forearm swivel, sorry, at the elbow. And his hands are, each fingers are a separate molded piece, but there's no individual articulation on each of the fingers. And his ball joint thumb can rotate around like so. All right. Coming back to the main body, he does have a 360 waist swivel. He does have an ab crunch, which can go very far. Very far. Not quite, not 90, but you might be able to force it to 90, but ooh. You know what? That's as far as I want to go. He can probably go a little bit more, or maybe even all the way, but I don't want to force mine. And I think that's more than enough for what most people will be posing this guy as. His hip skirts can flip up and flip out. And even on the back side, there's a hinge here to get the hip skirt out. There's an additional piece that you don't really need to use. I don't really know for official use if it's supposed to be out or collapsed in. I just keep it collapsed in. But there we go. His hips are ratchet. He can go forward about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more. Backwards, again, the same deal until he runs into some of the hip skirt. Hip can go out this far. And it can go in quite a bit. You can see there's an additional hinge up here. That's for transformation, so you can get his legs closed, so there's no, thigh gap. So yeah, you get that, but it's not really that useful for articulation in robot mode. He does have thigh swivel and double jointed knees. This one's really high. It's mostly used for the combined mode, but you can make use of it if you'd like. You can even come forward to get that knee. So double jointed knee at least 90 degrees. Well, yeah, probably 90 degrees. Coming down to the leg, you don't really have any foot articulation other than like this. The way it transforms is really weird, so you can't really get any more than that. One area of improvement they made is that you can make use of the ankle tilt, or this breakage here, which is really high. It's like mid-shin, but you can use that for an ankle tilt since he doesn't have any rockers down here due to the way it transforms. But to do that, I didn't even show it. You should untab this back panel first to do that. Previously, you had to untab this wheel area. It used to have a tab that secured it, but it looked funny if you had to have this open to use the articulation. So yeah, once you straighten that out, come back here and tab that in. Sorry, I should have mentioned that before I showed it. But yeah, I think that's it for articulation. Let's do some quick comparisons in robot mode. Here are two of his teammates. That Swindle is actually a production sample, as is this Onslaught, because I'm using the others to do combined mode, so making the transition easier. But it'll give you an idea of height and how they look together, just minor differences and maybe some paint applications and so forth. But this gives you an idea of how he scales. And again, I like how they're all kind of different, slightly different sizes, even though they're different limbs. These two are the arms, but they're slightly different. I know Brawl is going to be, I believe, pretty big. I think he's going to be around here, but still be around the same height for leg mode, obviously. So let's get these guys out of the way. I've also done other comparisons in my live stream, so if you have other ones I think you're curious about, aside from the requisite one that I'll show here, which is MP44. I did a lot of other comparisons, I think, with some Seekers and so forth, maybe some Carbots, but I don't want to take up too much time doing comparisons there. I did want to talk about some differences between this even late review sample that I had previously shown. There are some significant differences. They put in a filler here to make it less gappy looking there. They, like I said, they removed the tab here so you can make use of the ankles without having to lift that up. What else did they do? I forget what else they did. But there were some other significant changes. I'll probably remember them once I... right here on the inner foot, this panel right here has a tab now, so that... Well, it has a slot now, so that that can tab in securely as opposed to floating around. Before it didn't have that slot. I kind of mentioned that it would have been a nice to have. So they did that. There might be some other stuff, but I'm forgetting at this moment exactly what other changes there were. But yeah, pretty significant. Just removing that tab, adding that other one to make this, again, kind of a quality of life update. Nothing so great that it'll make or break your decision to get this guy. But really nice to have that they didn't really need to do. So yeah. All right, let's get into transformation. We're going to go from robot mode to alt mode, then to arm mode, and then we'll come back. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the arms. I like dealing with the arms first. They're pretty easy. You want to pull down on this panel, rotate this a bit while flipping this entire fist in. You want to close that up. That tabs in. Then you want to rotate this way, and then use that double hinge on the arms to collapse it in like so. Then you're going to... what was that? Oh, sorry, Onslaught fell down. Alright, so we're just going to leave that like that for now. Same thing on this side. Open this up. Rotate this around. Close that up. Flip. Collapse. Alright. We're going to go ahead and come to the back and open up these sections. We want to open this up and flip out, split this section here. This is going to tuck in here, but one quick thing to note is that you probably don't want to do that until after you rotate these sections. So I'm going to show you why. So untab here. We're going to open this up, rotate this around, close it up first, and then flip this up and down. All right, so if you put these in first, like this, next to the head, you'll actually have a hard time rotating these sections around. They actually cause some interference because they poke through right there. So again, I would recommend rotating these first, then folding up this faux fin. Then you can tab the two halves together, rotate it as a whole singular piece up, tabbing it up to the cockpit, like so. All right, we're going to leave these just hanging out for now. You can fold them up and tab them just so they're not in the way, but let's come down here. I'm going to flip up the hip skirts just to get them out of the way. And we're going to deal with each leg. So first, we'll go ahead and untab this panel here. Rotate that around. We'll untab this vertical stabilizer, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. And then make use of this double hinge to make sure it sits flush there. While you have this opened, you want to pull on this. This actually has double telescoping pieces. There's a brown piece here and a purple piece. You're going to need to make use of both of these depending on the situation, but you want to pull this all the way out for shuttle mode. Close that back up. It tabs in there. The foot comes up and around, and you see that tab, like so. All right. Coming down here, you want to flip this up and open. You want to make use of that kind of like shin brake here to open this up, rotate this out, fold in that section, and tab that back in. You can bring down the wheel. This is a little gap filler. Oh, that's another thing. They actually provided a little indent here that made it much easier to pull out that section. Before it was really hard to get to, but now you can see there's a little curvature here so you can get your fingernail in there, which is nice. Again, nothing major, just a quality of life fix. All right, so that's it for one leg, or one half of the rear shuttle. We'll do the same thing back here. Flip this up and around, and down. This will get up, around like that. We'll just keep that like so. Here is the ox labels that are hidden in here. I don't remember exactly where his penguin is. There's usually a penguin, and I don't remember seeing that one yet. So anyway, if we find it, we'll go ahead and reveal that. Same thing as the last time. You want to lift this up, break at the calf, fold this in, close that up, fold out this space filler, tab that back in. Oops, sorry, I forgot to pull out this thruster. Again, you're going to need to telescope both sections here. And then again, as we mentioned before, these hips do collapse on that upper hip joint to make sure that there's no gap between the legs. Now all you have to do is just tab both halves together, really. There's tabs along the top edge, along this rudder piece, or whatever you want to call it. Really quickly, before we get too far, there is weapon storage. This little peg here goes into the back left leg, kind of above the knee, like that. All right. Make sure with the hip skirts that you flip these out and articulate them so that they're flush with this section. They do have two small corresponding tabs from here. We can tab that into the side, These hip skirts will fold down. They tab in. You can leave these out for now if you want to. We'll leave them out just because that's where the landing gear are. We can close this up. And then untab or whatever these were hanging out up front. You want to rotate this all the way around. There's two kind of tabs there and a single tab that goes into the side of the shuttle. So same thing on this side. There we go. And then the front landing gear, you just push on this tab to get that released and around. And here we have blast off in shuttle mode. And you can see it's really quite nice. I should move it over to the side so I can do some comparisons for you. It's very long. I think it's probably not super accurate to an actual shuttle. You got some nice metallic paint here. This figure does have a decent amount of paint. I think almost all the purple pieces, all these gray, kind of like dark gray, almost black pieces. Most of those are painted. Some of this brown piece are painted here. So this is all paint up here, I believe. These sections here, metallic paint up there. But there's a lot of bare plastic too. Like this is all bare plastic. I think the wings, for the most part, aside from maybe this tip, is plastic. The wheels do roll, so you can shuttle around. But there's not really any other articulation to talk about. If you want to talk about the bay that you can open up, that's really hard to get to in this mode without kind of untabbing a couple pieces so you can get in underneath here. And I don't think that's how the shuttle opens anyways. I don't think it's supposed to open this way. I think it's supposed to split in half. But anyway, you do have some amount of playability with opening the shuttle. And again, there's storage for the weapon there. We'll just fold up the landing gear because we're going to need to do that anyway for what's it called? Arm mode. But before we do that, just one quick comparison or two with Streak and MP Bumblebee. And again, I think I did more comparisons with other figures, even in alt mode, in my previous videos, but I'm not going to waste time there again. All right, So time to get into arm mode. So it's pretty easy to get into arm mode from here. We're going to reverse this section. We're going to rotate this around, tab it in there. Same thing on this side. Release those two tabs, get it around, tab it in there. And we're going to release this tab, these, even the hip skirts, you want to get these kind of out of the way for now. It's probably not wholly necessary, but it just makes it much easier to split the stuff here. You can get rid of the gun here. I believe you can still have it in combined mode, but I don't know why you would really want to do that. We're going to reverse the transformation for the most part. We're going to flip this in, open this up, get this panel down, tuck in the landing gear right there, close that up, retab that section, fold that down. Dealing with the fist, so the fist is stored inside here. You want to untab this section like so, and you open up the thrusters down here. This panel will flip open as well. Open up this brown piece with the thruster. We'll deal with that in a second, but you want to rotate the fist out. Make sure to pull the thumb out before you combine the two halves, otherwise you can't get it out. I always forget to do that, so remember to rotate the thumb out so you don't have to do some additional transformation. Just collapse this. You just have to collapse it just enough for the purple piece to get out of the way of this tab here, purple and brown piece to get rid of out of the way of this tab here. So this will close up, tab in that way. This purple piece, the thruster, will come in to the gap where the fist was. Close that up, pull that down, and then this, again, vertical stabilizer, whatever you want to call it, will come back around, fold in, and it'll push it in on this double hinge, so it actually goes all the way inside this cavity. Rotate this piece here and tab it back in like it was in robot mode, and that's one half done. Same thing, repeating on this side. We'll go ahead and flip this open, get this faux wheel out, break at the cav here. Oops, sorry, flip this back, close that up. Opening up the thruster area, collapse this all the way in. The foot will open up, or the thruster will open up like so. This panel will come around. The other half of the fist will come down. Get this out of the way so this can close. There's a double tab system there. See, it fits perfectly in there. This will come back in and tab. Combine both halves of the arm. And then from here, you can do really whatever you want with the hip skirts here. You can close them all the way up, but if you want a little bit of extra articulation, you want to get them up and out of the way, because now you can rotate at this joint as well. So you can use his hips, his double jointed knees in opposite directions to get a pretty sizable range of articulation in the hands. And the elbow, sorry, the elbow. But if you just tab it all in, you still get a little bit more than 90. The cool engineering that I've always talked about before is this design where the two halves of the hands come together, but you still have wrist swivel. You don't get complete 360, but you get more than enough. You can go up like this. You can go all the way down like so. His thumb is on a rotational hinge here, as well as a ball joint, and then a double hinge there. So a lot of articulation just in the thumb. Each of the fingers has a pin joint here, a pin joint here, and pin joint here. So 3 segments each. that can move in addition to the base joint at the hand. So yeah, that's it for arm mode. Oh, sorry, the biggest thing. You got to come over here and you got to push down on this to get this tab out. And you want to pull it all the way down and you'll hear it click into place. So that's way secure. So sorry about that. All right, we're back zoomed out. So here we have blast off. Coming around over here. If you remember, they did re-engineer the joint here, so now it has this kind of a hinge thing. You just slot that in, push down, and here we have their Bruticus in combined mode. Obviously, I have two Swindles. One of them is the prototype. You can see that one that has less paint apps. That's the prototype. Since I don't have Brawl, much to my chagrin, I've asked them to see if they can send me one to preview for you all, but no luck yet. But yeah, here we go with our Bruticus. You can see the ratchets. So quick voiceover here. I was just told that the Ocular Max team is actually going to send out replacement ratchets so that it will have improved Volatus shoulder ratchets in combined mode. Alright, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get them transformed back into robot mode. We're not going to go all, well, usually I do, so let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and transform them back into shuttle mode first, and then back into robot mode. So, shuttle mode, we're just going to go ahead and open these pieces up. We folded in the combiner port. Let's fold this down. Split. Oh, let's make sure we have the arm this way. Makes it easier to split. Untab this section here. Get this around. Open this up. Get this all unfurled. We're going to try to go very quickly. Pull down all the way. And if you also need instructions, there's also the official video manual, again, that I did for this. But to be frank, you should be watching my reviews. You'll get to hear my nice dulcet tones of my review, walking you through instead of the music. Alright, bring this around in here. You do have to get this cleared just a little bit so it can, there's kind of like a resting place here. So you want to get this tab like that. There we go, so it gets flush. Close that up. Like so. Oh, that might be a little too much. Like so. This will flip around. And again, that nice new tab that they put there. Close that up. Close this up. No need to do anything with the... oops, sorry, I forgot to tab this in. No need to do anything with the mid-calf joint that we usually have to deal with going from this way to robot mode. So that's nice. Pull this out. Pull this up. Out of the way, form the foot. Come on, there we go. Get this up and back, like so. That. Tab this in. Close this up. Get the foot in place, tab the calf in, like so, straighten out the legs. From here, spread the hips up at the top so you get a bit of a gap between the legs. Alright, dealing with the upper body, very simple. Go ahead and get these untabbed. We're going to pull down on the nose cone enough so that we can release this tab here. And like I said before, remember, you want to pull this backpack out as soon as you can, just so it doesn't interfere with this mechanism for the shoulders and chest kind of splitting apart like that. Once you have that though, you can kind of deal with everything up here. Get this down, get this panel around. Get this folded down like so. And there is a tab right there. Fold this up, get the faux fin in like so. Rotate this around and close it up. Get the shoulders around. Extend at the double jointed elbows. And then we just have to reveal the fist. Flip that around like so. Flip this around, get the arms extended. Down at the forearm. Get the fist out and around. Fold this flat. And there we go. So that way we have Volatus back in robot mode. And I just noticed, I was looking at the box, they actually have the wrong name here. They have Probus here, which is not right. That's for their brawn. But yeah, just a funny thing that I just noticed. Like here, and yeah, so like the top and the back are incorrectly. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, here he is back in robot mode. So my final thoughts. I've already kind of expressed my final thoughts and my kind of love for this engineering. I would say that there are a few things that I think they could have improved. The ankle joint or these weird rocker joints here. There definitely are improvement from the preview copy or sample just because you don't have these tabs in. But they are kind of unsightly. It would have been nice to have something down here, even if it was just a rotation at this piece. But I can see why that might have been a little risky with this whole mechanism here. Overall, I'm very happy with the overall look of this guy. I think his robot mode, his arms are where it's a little spindly looking, kind of incomplete. It's very flat and kind of open. So that's a downside. So I think his robot mode is probably the weakest of his three modes. I like his shuttle mode a lot, and I think the arm mode is fantastic again, especially given all the engineering and all-in-one stuff. He's overall very fun to transform, and from what I've experienced so far, he's much better quality than the sample that I had, and even that sample, like I think I said, if that came out, I thought that was ready for sale. So the slight improvements they made on this is a welcome update. So this all this does is make me want Probus even more. I would really like to be able to get that in hand. Tanks are always cool, so I can't wait to get that guy in hand, mess with him. Hopefully I can do a preview before he comes out later this year. But if not, we'll enjoy him together at the same time. Hopefully I'll do a live stream. But yeah, that's it for today, everyone. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below as usual. If you liked the review and it helped you with your transformation or answered your questions and decision making, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, you can pick this up at my sponsor, Toy Dojo. There's a link for their website in the description below as well. That's all for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.